True or false? Timberwolves are a first round exit after Cat's injury.
I don't think it's that easy.
I'm gonna take the cheap way out. I'm gonna go
Wait on matchup.
and say it's matchup dependent. It is matchup dependent. If it's a
Who's the best matchup and worst matchup for them?
So you got Warriors, Lakers, Kings, Mavs.
So
Let's
I'm
keep it
just
there.
asking
The
this
playing
question
teams.
in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to answer it, all you guys, in these two ways.
Okay.
If Cat is hurt, true or false? If Cat is healthy, true or false?
If Cat is healthy, I'm gonna say false. They should be able to move on to the next round. If Cat is unhealthy, it is matchup dependent. So I will go and say there is some truth to that statement. I think the best matchup for them would be the Kings.
I agree.
The worst matchup would be the Lakers
Suns.
because okay, Suns is fair. Suns is definitely one to look at and say that's
Suns
not
are
a great
6 right
matchup.
now, right?
But they are.
No, but they can fall to
They
seven.
can fall.
That's true.
They can fall. But I also
They're only a half game up.
I'll also say the Lakers because of Anthony Davis and that matchup with Rudy Gobert and LeBron James.
Does Cat change that series for you at all in your mind? Like if he played, would you still pick the Lakers? Please, I want you to sit.
I know
in an unbiased
that's
seat.
really a tough one for me because I do firmly believe that we can give them a really great series. We can contend for that one. We would probably not be favorites in that series.
No.
Sure, no.
So I'll say that. I think that's the best way I can answer without being biased because I think we can legitimately beat any team not named the Denver Nuggets. I genuinely feel that.
You need the I know this is a Timberwolves topic, but the Lakers defense has really struggled. I know these last 15 games,
You're
the
right,
offense has been
100%.
playing well, but the defense has really been bad because we're going to talk about
no
the Mavericks
Vando,
later.
no Reddish, bad.
They have some really bad defensive statistics, but I think how you feel about LeBron being able to turn on the playoffs, if you could just have that same mindset once you get into the playoffs, because they struggle on
They've said
offense,
that,
you
though.
guys have been
They just
struggling on
need to get in.
defense, it could cancel out.
No, I'm with you there. But I'll say there is some truth to that because without Karl Anthony Towns, that's extra offense that they just lost. And what's their biggest issue? We saw it last night, scoring the basketball. So to me, that's where I do have my concerns. I don't not trust Anthony Edwards. I believe Anthony Edwards is going to show up to the moment and play high-level basketball. There's no doubt in my mind there. But who else around them is going to step up to the plate? Is it going to be Naz Reid this early into his career? Is he going to have to be your second option going into that first round, going into
That looks
this
really
playoffs?
bad for the Jaden McDaniel party.
And I don't want to slight Jaden McDaniels. That it's tough to do that, but you put him
not
in a
that
bad
player
spot.
yet. He's not
You
that
put him
player
in a
yet.
bad spot
Solid.
by saying that he could be JB. That's not who he is.
He's going to start cooking up.
I think Jaden McDaniels is a great player for his role. Obviously, that's fine. But when you start to think about what he can be, that's where you lose me. I'm just going to evaluate off of what he is now.
Should be around there.
He's still a
He's
young
23.
player. He's an elite defender who occasionally can give you a bucket. Occasionally. But that's not his strength. We understand that you go into that series and Naz Reid is your second option. That's where people can have genuine concerns. And that's not a slight to Naz. It's just understanding that, hey, you're probably going to, it's 23, that's how old he is. But and going into that series versus the Lakers, your second option is Naz Reid, but the Lakers' fourth option is Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell, and that's a better option than your second option. So that's where I kind of have my concerns.
You know, I understand.
Naz Reid's a better scoring option than Reeves and D'Lo. That's my statement.
In a vacuum, you're not wrong. But in a matchup against Minnesota, you're talking about Nickeil Alexander-Walker or McDaniels being on one of those two.
So who's on LeBron?
McDaniels.
Is McDaniels?
I would put McDaniels on LeBron.
He's a little small.
And I would put Nickeil on Reeves or D'Lo, and then you could put Ant-Man on the other one.
Probably put Ant-Man on D'Lo.
And then Gobert and AD?
It has to be.
I mean,
Yeah. No, of course.
Yes.
I feel great about
That's
that.
why I don't love that matchup for Dallas either. I think that'd be a really tough matchup. You got bodies to throw at Kyrie and Luka, and if you're able to knock those two off their game, I don't trust those other parts.
Like, I
around
think
them.
Naz Reid could have a better series than D'Lo and Reeves because of the defenders Minnesota could put on those guards.
But then the thing with Nas is we could probably put Rui on Gobert or something like that along those lines, and we could put AD on Nas if he really is that much of a problem.
There's that.
Yeah, that's the
But then
answer.
you're taking AD away from the rim.
Yeah, that's definitely not
No,
ideal.
my point, I'm just saying, I don't want to start an argument. I'm just saying that in a vacuum, those players might be like better offensive players than Naz Reid, but in a series, they might not be. because of the matchups they're going up against. They're not easy defensive matchups.
No. And listen, we're talking about the best defense
And
in the
Naz Reid
league.
will be coming off the bench.
Yeah, the fact they're starting Slow-Mo over him.
I don't know how long that's gonna last.
Slow-Mo's been playing decent ball though.
He's fine,
It's
but
just Nas is he's better.
I feel like you can only do this for so long.
Just
Even
regular
Kyle
season.
Anderson out there, because their offense
can't
has
shoot.
been really bad. I mean, on the season, their offensive rating is 115. Since the All-Star break, it's dipped to 110, which has been bottom 7 in the league. Prior to last night's game, in the 2 games without Cat, 2 games sample size is nothing. It drops to 103. So I mean, we're talking about one of the worst.
Losing Cat is tough.
It hurts their ceiling for sure. Like if you ever had a world where the Timberwolves could go to the finals, the WCF, it involved Cat. Like Cat would have had to been there. He would have been shooting 40% from 3. The efficiency he's been doing basically all season long and Edwards, for how great he is and been great in the playoffs, 100%. I get all of that. He could have moments too where he's not going to be the most consistent 9 and out. We saw it last night.
Let's go.
The thing with the Timberwolves.
Let me ask you a question. That stat didn't accrue the Lakers game, I'm assuming.
The play-in, no, because it's playoffs.
Oh, even though
play-ins aren't charted.
Count. Yeah.
Play-ins aren't charted at all. But I don't disagree with you. I think Anthony Edwards, ironically, struggles with something Tatum struggles with. That's pull-up shooting. That's in the mid-range.
Yeah.
Edwards is not a good mid-range shooter, not even an average one. He's below average. And the 2 type of shot types that he takes, which this as of right now, this is Anthony Edwards' 3 things in how he scores. He goes to the basket. He has a jump shot, whether in the mid-range 3-point shot, just a jump shot, and fadeaways. And on fadeaways and on pull-up shots, he's not efficient. On jump shots, he's I think 38%, and then on fadeaways, he's like at 33%. So right now, the most efficient part of his game is driving to the basket, and those other parts can get inconsistent. So I understand that. I was trying to find a silver lining for the Timberwolves without Cat.
And you couldn't find one?
I could have done it if I didn't see these last 2 games. 113 against the Pacers, where Edwards goes for 44. One of the worst defenses in basketball. You only get 113 points.
For sure.
No, they needed him to do that, though.
They did.
Yeah. I don't think it's a stat game. 104 points against the Cavaliers. He struggles.
They got there because of OT.
And Naz Reid had an
7-11
out-of-body
34-point game. He was hitting shots in the very few shots they hit in the fourth quarter and overtime.
It's a combination of things.
What's the one, though?
If you want me to mention Isaac
what's the
Okoro,
number one thing, though?
I'll give you the satisfaction of
You were
saying
watching the game. I hope so. You saw what was going on.
Okoro played great defense.
Great.
Thank you.
But I could also say Anthony Edwards rolled his ankle
He's
the day
young.
before. Anthony Edwards fell down really hard on his hip
he did.
in the middle of the game against Indiana.
that hurts.
And then at the end of the game,
arguments.
on
hearing
the
'em.
on the game-winning block,
It's a back-to-back, man.
it
is a back-to-back.
Yes, on a
You know what's
game-winning
crazy?
block, he hit his head on the rim
Okay.
and then fell on his wrist.
Now watch this. Let me just fact check something before I say something, because I felt like he was efficient up until the 3-minute mark into the third quarter.
He was 7 for 17, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in the game. He did not make another shot for the entirety of
legs
He
get
was
tired
great
in the fourth
in the
quarter.
first quarter. In the first quarter, he was playing great.
I figured.
But
and then all of a sudden
then
the injuries.
In the last 3
tired.
quarters,
Yeah.
he was inefficient.
When
And
you
then
have the
then
back-to-back,
Okoro checked in.
your legs start going second half.
I just remember the young players
Injuries
saying they
start
got all the
piling
energy,
up.
they're excited to play. Ant-Man, he don't want to miss games, you know?
He don't.
What do we say, Drew? If
You're
you're out
out
there,
It's on you, man.
He came back into the game after leaving to the locker room twice against Indiana.
that's pretty dope, Indiana.
He hit clutch shots in that game too. He pulled up 3, a little
I
middies
reckon
too.
you
That-
should hit clutch
of
shots
course
against the
block,
worst
but-
defense in the league. You know, I think
And
that
then he
makes
had
sense.
the game-winning block.
But he did go crazy.
He
He
had
did
the
go
block of the
crazy.
year.
the
Yeah.
best defensive play of the season.
And then he
He went
played,
crazy.
and then he came over to Okoro chamber and then got locked out.
He's the ant hater. For being
Like,
honest.
you know, it's just.
No, we know that.
That
crazy
Pacers
to me.
game, you got to give him love for. I'm not gonna lie. That
I
was
mean,
nuts.
I'll be honest, bro. Everybody kills the Pacers. I don't really like.
45 though. Pull up.
Maxey gave him 40. Steph gave him 50.
Luka gave him the 45-point
Luka
triple
gave him
double.
like,
Was it?
it's a stat game because they
L?
just don't defend.
Oh yeah,
but
despite the
the
loss.
Bucks-
Well, you've heard Luca's name,
what's his name?
despite the loss, man.
No,
Yeah, that's what they're calling him on the internet.
damn.
But anyway, go ahead.
It's just Cleveland. Tough
Shooting
defense,
is a
bro.
concern now because Cat, you're now removing a 40% three-point shooter. Conley's at 43%. So is Naz Reid. He's at 42%. But then there are other shooters. Nikhil's at 37%. But I think he's more of an average than like a good, consistent
He's not
shooter.
going to get the respect like an elite shooter.
McDaniels is at 36%. And then Kyle Anderson this year is at 27%. So you don't have much shooting out there.
And what's Ant?
Anthony Edwards is at around that mark. I didn't mention Ant because usually he's going to have the ball and kicking it out to these
And
guys.
let me also ask you, do they not involve Conley at all in this offense?
He's
just
spot-up
can't
shooter.
He can't create.
Correct.
He's
Yeah.
old.
He's just not. He's
I
not fast
understand,
enough.
but in
or
terms of
athletic, really,
facilitating, you needed a point guard. I mean, it gave him an extension.
Is 40% in the paint non-restricted area? Is that good?
it's pretty terrible.
It's pretty terrible, right? Oh, okay. What about 35% from the mid range? Is that bad?
Not
Why
great.
is he getting fouled?
No, it's not. Did I not mention the
I'm
mid-range
just
shot? I know
just
about the
looking
mid-range
at
shot.
things.
This is
you
just
know?
at the game.
Huh?
This
No, this
individual?
is career. This is season.
If Tatum finished at the
40%
rim at
rim?
40%,
In the
you would
paint,
have his
non-RA,
head
that means
It's not
non-
40%.
in the restricted area.
40.0, 235 attempts, 2023,
You're
2024
missing.
season.
You're missing the in the paint shots, the actual in the paint shots.
In the paint, no, restricted area, 70%.
Oh, okay, it's great.
Shoots-
In the
he
paint,
shoots 70
non-restricted area.
Okay,
40%.
he shoots,
Oh, okay.
which is like
Floaters.
around there. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
at the rim. It's actually better if you just look at the rim numbers. At the
get it.
rim,
The
Nah,
one
that was agenda
elite.
based. That was
great.
agenda
Rim, I
based.
fuck with that.
he's elite.
Because
I fuck
I
with
was
that.
like, wait, huh?
I was
fuck
just
with
reading
that. That's
over
fine.
the order. That's
He's
what I was
throwing.
doing.
How is he missing all these layups?
Now,
and
40% of the
dunks?
rim have been nuts.
235 attempts. He's doing it enough.
235 attempts. Does
Damn
feel
near
like a
almost
fair
more
amount.
attempts than mid-range, which he's shooting 35%.
Efficiency hasn't been great.
Now,
I still believe in him.
I do
with
too.
the I mean, he's only 22 years old, so he's
Exactly.
really
Oh,
young.
when we say 25.
When do you guys think? Because all we've heard is Cat's been
That's
out.
3 more years of development.
Three.
He's
Come
gonna
on.
have some time. He'll
He's
be
gonna
fine.
develop.
And
Sure.
he's went to how many ECFs at the finals in that time?
His whole life,
Okay,
basically.
but before you go, Does, I was trying to find a silver lining. Maybe this is a Grizzlies in 2012 thing where Rudy Gay gets injured and then the Grizzlies go on a playoff run. All of the Timberwolves' best lineups that don't involve Cat,
Terrible.
they're good lineups. They're just not good offensively outside of one.
Are they good playoff lineups?
What's the difference
think there are
between
some.
Nas Reed and Kyle Anderson?
So I'll tell you right now. In 183 possessions, this lineup is a plus 35. Ant-Man, Nikhil, Kyle, Nas Reed, Gobert. They have a 131 offensive rating, which is really
damn.
good.
Okay.
Yeah. And 96.2 defensive rating. So they're suffocating, and that's their most used lineup without Cat. Their second one, these are the 3 most used lineups without Cat. Their second lineup, minus 2.7, it's Conley, Ant-Man, Jaden, Kyle, Gobert. They have an offensive rating of 102 in 181 possessions. And then the third one in 150 possessions, plus 16.7 with Conley, Ant-Man, Jaden, Nas, and Gobert. But they're not great as a lineup because of the balance they have. It's because of their defense. They have a 102 offensive rating, but an 86 defensive rating. Ooh. So this even the best lineups that don't feature Cat, they don't have great offensive ratings.
Except the Nas Reed one.
Except that one, yeah, which I don't know how much
It's
how
the
much it's
hugest
going to
sample
regress
size, too.
on a larger sample size. Defense is going to win them games, and I went back in the last 30 years, and teams with the number 1 defensive rating in the last 30 years that have advanced in the playoffs, it's been 87%. The only teams with the
Past
number
round one?
yes, the only teams that had the number 1 defensive rating in the NBA that didn't advance
Were the
past the first round of playoffs.
2010-ish Bulls up there?
The Bulls are one of them.
good.
It's the 11-12 Bulls, the year that D-Rose got hurt.
In the first game.
The Lakers. The Lakers are the other one, the year after the bubble,
Number one
2020, 2021. Number 1 defense rating that didn't advance in the playoffs. So you lost in the
Oh
first
yeah,
round.
that was the year that AD got hurt.
Yeah. So the Bulls,
2012, yep.
the 2009, 2010 Bucks, the 97, 98 Cavaliers,
Thank God I thought this was
and this one happened last year. It was the Cavaliers that didn't advance.
2022. Okay.
So defense.
Oh,
doesn't
facts.
Yes.
Facts. Tweet. They ended the year with the
Matter.
number 1
Defense
defense?
doesn't matter.
No, I mean,
No, that percentage
80
is low.
No, that means
87
everyone
yeah.
but 3 teams.
only
did.
13% of teams, and these are the 13%.
So you're
But
banking on that.
A couple of them were recent.
I was looking at this and I was just like, okay, I want to see what these teams' offensive ratings were. So last year's Cavs team was 9th. So they were great. It was really an upset.
It's bad.
Your Lakers team, 2020, 2021, 24th offensive rating. But, LeBron and AD were injured for majority of that year. The Bulls, 5th in offensive rating. Derrick Rose injury in the first round. That'll do
That
it
was
to
our
you.
year, man.
Yeah. 2009, 2010 Bucks, 23rd in offensive rating, and the 97, 98 Cavs, 24th in offensive rating. So for the most part, the teams that get upset, it's either an injury or they have a bottom barrel offense. And I think if the Timberwolves can float around average, they could be fine.
But if they've been below average with Cat, what does it make you think that that's going to stay the same or improve? I think it's going to go the other way.
D-Wade run right now.
Nasri could hoop, though. That's the thing. Like, obviously, going into a playoff series, having him as your number 2 scoring option, when you compare him to other number 2 scoring options, he's not going to stack up. But he could have games like this where he gets hot from 3. He's big. He could put the ball on the floor. He could finish around the rim. He's a good player.
So,
it's just he doesn't match up to J-Dubs and
let's say Dallas ends the year on 7, right? Let's just say. Who do you have winning, Dallas or the Timberwolves?
Without Cat?
Well, he's not playing, so yes.
I have Dallas. Without Cat.
Okay.
With Cat,
Cat.
I would have Minnesota.
Ooh, okay. I'm praying for that for sure.
That'd be a fun cop out to have.
It would be
because you got horses in both races. You know what I mean? Like.
No, Cat just means so much to them offensively, though. They don't have shooting.
So he was ruled out indefinitely. This sports doctor I follow said that based on either a study he did or read is the normal recovery is 4 to 6 weeks. That would put him basically
because it wasn't a
right
full
up to
torn,
the wire.
right?
Now it's like a repair or something, but that puts him right on basically the deadline of the playoffs. You know, playoffs are late April.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to come and either play right away in the playoffs. Maybe he gets
I don't think he plays game 1
season.
I think he'll play like game 2.
And even if he plays, he's gonna be on minutes restriction. He might be coming off the bench. You're not gonna get 100% Cat game 1.
They need their defense to take it up to an insane all-time level.
If their defense can wipe out whoever they play in like 4 or 5 games, get rest, hope other series take a while. Like whoever they play next take a while because they're 2-7, so they would play 3-6. So 3-6 would be hypothetically today. Nuggets and Suns, that should probably go like 6-7 games. So you hope for that, and then you just keep recovering. They should be all right for round 2.